So today we're welcoming Christin Neddens to the podcast. We thought that we'd do an episode specially focusing on like power boosting practice, especially for people who don't have so much time. And we thought that you would be the perfect person to ask about this because of your book, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, Creative Flow. But yeah, thanks for joining us, first of all.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you both in one screen, and thanks so much for the invitation. Looking forward.
Thank you. So, yeah, we thought that we'd start off then by asking you if you have any practice tips, what would you suggest?
Good question. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, over years, I learned a lot, and meanwhile, I'm just trying to share good things or efficient things. So, um, I think it's really important to be in a good mental state that in a mixture of that you're looking forward, what you do, and you have a kind of a certain goal, what you want to do, what you want to reach after 1 week, after 2 weeks, and uh, yeah, that you have a plan and that it's not too stressful. And then I always recommend to, if it comes to a practice routine, that you have clarity in your in the way you're planning things. So I always start with the hand warm up, and then I go further with some feet warm ups. Then I go further to some coordination, balance aspects, and later on I focus, or always try to focus, creative things. And that's what I generally recommend. I mean, it's already quite complex, but yeah, having clarity in things and being in a good mental state, I think that's the most important thing at the beginning.
What would you suggest if someone's had to take a break from drumming or practicing due to injuries or maybe having children or for whatever reason? It can feel a bit overwhelming to know where to start again. Have you got any ideas to help people with that?
Yeah, um, I mean, it's definitely different if you have children. I think that's what I definitely guess. But also when you're, let's say, as a professional musician, you were on a tour and you're definitely somewhere else with your brain, then I think it's really important again to have clarity in what you want to do. And I think what really helps is uh, to create a little plan with little exercises, like small exercises. Um, I've made very good experiences with that, just to have, let's say, for the hands, a 2 bar phrase or a 4 bar phrase, and to practice on that just for 1 week. And same thing with exercises for the feet, or for, yeah, for the kick or for the hi-hat foot. And um, just to focus on that, to stay relaxed with that, and not to expect too much. Just to focus on, okay, let's get back to the routine. And I think not expecting too much might be already a very important key in that. And I think that's really helpful, especially for 1 week, or let's say after 3 or 4 days. I think it feels much more relaxed, or better, and then yeah, can dive deeper into things.
What I love is that you just mentioned about your mindset. And I think that's really important. And I think I feel like I haven't heard many people talk about that in the sense of practice, like having the right mindset straight away. And also, like, I feel like you have this gentleness about you where it's like, well, don't expect this much, just go easy and make it manageable. Have you always had that attitude, or did something happen for you when you were studying that influenced how you practice now?
It has definitely changed. I thought a bit about that question because I expected that question in a way. And I'm asked that a lot from my point of view, I can say it was very different years ago. If I look back in retrospective, I have to say I had to help in my childhood. I had to help a lot at home. My father was a workaholic, and my brother and we had to help a lot at home. And so there was not so much free time for us. And it's kind of interesting, but in nowadays, let's say when I have a free weekend or free Sunday, it feels wonderful for me because I feel like, oh, I can do everything on my own. I can do what I want still, because it was kind of rough in my childhood sometimes. And I think that's one very important component in my working every day. So I still have the feeling it's free time. I can use it on my own, and that's really really cool. So whenever I practice or I create a new video or create new exercises, it feels like it's my time. It feels like a present. I mean, not only sometimes it's also work and it takes a while and it's annoying also at the same time. But generally, I have the feeling, oh, it's like a present. I really want to do that, and it's so much fun. Yeah, it's such a cool job generally.
Love that. Your book, Creative Flow, can you talk us through it and also let us know how long did it take for you to write it?
Yeah, I started writing it, I think, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. But I thought about that idea for, I don't know, or I've been thinking about that idea for years. And but I've started writing that book, I would say 3.5 years ago. And I mean, yeah, it took a while to find a topic. I was pretty sure that I don't want to focus just one topic, let's say just rudiments, because there's so many great books out there just about rudiments. But practice routine could match as a topic because um, yeah, it can. It's possible to include different topics with that main topic, and so I mean at the same time, or I mean, I've been teaching at universities for so many years and I saw so many different characters and students, and it was always my wish to find a concept which might fit for everyone, no matter from what genre they are or from at what age they are or how experienced they are. So this played also an important role in that whole process. And so I started writing that book, and yeah, after I would say 1 year, I was kind of done, but I had no connections referred to a publishing company or whatever. So I started with that, and yeah, finally it happened in a way. And that last year was very intense in terms of yeah, the cooperation with the publishing company, Alfred Music, which was wonderful. It was so much fun every time, every week. And with you, Jammer, as my proofreader. And yeah, I mean, a lot of layout things and okay, what looks better, and the design of the book, and so on. And yeah, this last year was very intense, and then that was really cool. It was a nice, cool, very new experience with the publishing company, because I mean they have the promotion power in a way, and they decided, okay, this will be the release date. And for me it was like, oh wow, okay, then I need to be done, and that had a certain power. That um, if you're always on your own and you're responsible for deadlines, then sometimes you're a bit, I could also do that later, I don't know, next week or next month or whatever. But then I was okay, April 1st is the release date, and then wow, I cannot imagine. But then yeah, it happened, and it's a wonderful experience. I mean, you guys know that you're so focused on your stuff and on your content. I haven't thought so much about, okay, um, yeah, how's the response or how the response will be, or things like that. And so it was pretty overwhelming to get response from all over the world, and there's still orders every day, and that's really, really cool. And I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Have you got any further book ideas? Tell us about if there's anything planned, if you're allowed to.
Many, many. um, I mean, it was a wonderful experience, and already um, during the writing process, I had the feeling, this is so much fun. I really want to do that again. In a way, it can be also very annoying. We all know that, but generally it has been such a wonderful work. And as I said, I really like the clarity and things, and it's such a good feeling if you see, okay, I'm done with that, and now it's a book, and now I can go further. And that's really, really cool. And I also learned a lot about myself. And so other topics could be definitely, because I was asked so many times, rudiments, hand workouts, and also the heel toe workouts. I haven't published a book about that, only a small education online package. But that would be definitely a topic. Another topic would be, because a lot of people are scared of that, sight reading. And I see that when I teach at university, a lot of students struggle with that topic, sight reading, and that might be another cool topic. And yeah, I said to myself, hey, the book release, I mean, so it was in April, so three months ago, and so I think I can relax a little bit. But I think in autumn, or let's say September, October, I will start with a new idea.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us what your general week looks like? How do you divide your time between practicing and shooting videos and editing and writing stuff?
Yeah, at the moment it's a wonderful time, because I'm quite flexible, and at the same time I have a lot of really, really cool projects in the future. I'm looking forward so much. Some things are a bit secret, but just, yeah, want to let you know. And so I just came back from vacation, and now I have a few weeks to prepare some stuff. So a normal week at the moment looks like I wake up early in the morning, and then I focus my office stuff, like organizational stuff. So a lot of orders are coming in every day, and that always takes a while to write a little text in these books, and to prepare everything for the post office and everything. So yesterday, for example, I sent books to States and UK. These are the most the top uh, yeah countries anyway. And Azerbaijan, is that the what's the English word for that?
Azerbaijan, you got
Okay.
it.
And Nigeria, and yeah, to South Africa, and Japan. So it always takes a bit to prepare everything. And I'm always I also prepare videos for, or cutting videos, do the color grading part and everything for the next post. That's what I usually do in the morning hours. I always start with a little hand-foot combination exercise here in my apartment, and that's really cool. I usually use my book for that, just 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but that's really efficient. It just turned out, because you're very awake in the morning, especially for hand-foot combinations. It's a very good routine, a very good time spot in a way. And when I'm done with cutting videos, color grading stuff, with the office stuff, I go to the post office. That's what I did for the last I don't know, 2 months or 3 months. And then I start my practice routine if I have a very flexible day. And then I usually start with my practice routine, just with hand workouts, exercises for the feet, for balance coordination stuff, and then for time feel stuff. And at the end, I try to focus on creative things, or I'm working on new videos. And at the moment, I'm working on a new, very challenging R&B gospel kind of clip. And maybe that's another interesting thought. So social media is always challenging, as you guys, know. And I thought for me it was wonderful when I started with Instagram. What I did, I focused on one project for 1 week. And then at the end, I recorded it, but I learned so much. And some things really need time, like groove, feel, and also challenging technical stuff. And I don't know. And nowadays, everything came so hectic, so wild. So it's kind of can be kind of stressful on social media. And um, on vacation, I thought, okay, let's change the concept a little bit. It was a good idea what I did 2 or 3 years ago. It was a bit more. I dived deeper into things. I combined it in a, I would say, smart way with my practice routine. I really learned something from it, and at the same time, I had little clips for social media. And I thought to myself, I said to myself, okay, let's go back to that concept. That was really good. And so I started with that concept 2 weeks ago, and it feels really good. So my practice routine is a bit more diverse, and I dive deeper into things. And at the end, that's a bit new. I have a YouTube video as a result. So I want to post on YouTube a bit more, because I have the feeling, especially when you have a strong passion for details and for music. I mean, it takes a while to play a song. And at Instagram, I don't know, I think a lot of people, just because it's so overwhelming, there are so many good players out there, the people's attention is not so high anymore. So clips between 4 or 9 seconds are okay, but that's the maximum. But if you really want to play a song, I think YouTube is a bit better. And so I changed my concept a little bit. At the end of the week, it's my actual goal. I want to have a YouTube clip, a full song, different camera angles. And from that clip, I take 2 snippets and I will post it on Instagram. And I think that's a better concept. For me, it feels much more healthy. And I'm a bit better at using my time efficiently, and prioritizing things smartly, and that feels very smart and helpful at the moment.
I'm also going to go rogue very quickly, Kira. I just wanted to ask you then, how do you pick what you're going to work on?
Mhm. Um, I mean, there are so many incredible drummers and artists out there, and whenever I scroll through clips, I sometimes save clips, just because it was um, interesting in terms of art, music, or in the technical terms or whatever. And some clips are kind of old, but I uh, take this as a base, and sometimes I really, or often I transcribe things, because some stickings are very interesting, or some way of orchestrations, and some things I haven't seen before, and that's so interesting. I think we as drummers, you get aware of the fact that it will never end. That's such a cool thing. You can learn and learn and learn, and that's so cool, because that makes really, really happy. I don't need anyone for this. It just uh, the stuff around us and our mental state in a way. And so I usually transcribe a thing, and then I practice that and play it over and over and over again, just a couple of seconds, and then I try to find my own ideas, making my own version of it. And that takes a while. And I think that's also the truth. For me, it turned out I'm really interested in art, and that needs time. Sometimes the development needs time. And I see what the algorithm wants. Definitely, I try to find something for the algorithm with my heel toe stuff that works in a brilliant way somehow. It's fascinating. But on the other way, I also want to develop as an artist, and that needs time, and that needs a constant practice routine, and that needs a healthy state of mind and development, and that means it needs time in a way. Yeah.
You've performed on some big stages. Do you ever get nervous? And what advice do you have to those who really struggle with nerves?
It's interesting. For me, it feels the bigger the stage, the less nervous I am, because the audience is so far away, and if you have your in-ears, it's like in a practice room. It's weird in a way. I felt that the recent years, whenever I played on big stages, I'm not really, absolutely not nervous at all anymore. And that felt a bit strange, because that can be part of the fun. That can be fun if you're a bit nervous. And it definitely has to do, okay, with what kind of band you are on stage or what kind of job it is. I played a couple of television shows, just to give an example, and for me it turned out, okay, if everything is so predictable on every level, I might not be the best character for that. I really don't like this kind of setting. I really like the unpredictable things. And so in retrospective, I would say playing in a radio big band, for example, where you have this jazz setting and where the arrangement is clear, but it's not really clear what happens in act or in situations of interaction, jazz. That might be the perfect setting for me. I need that. And so in smaller clubs, for example, when the audience is closer, that can be, not always, but usually a bit more interesting, because it's compact and you feel the interest and the vibrant air. And yeah, but I mean, every kind of job can be challenging or interesting. I think having a healthy mixture is an important fact in the long run. Yeah.
Okay, going on to teachers that you've had, have you had any favorites? And are there any particular things about them that you admire?
Oh, that's a lovely question. I haven't thought about that, but so definitely one of my favorite teachers was my first teacher. His name is Heinz Lichius, and he is from Hamburg, here, where I'm living, and you, Jammer. And when I started studying jazz, he was my first teacher. And it was not the case that he had a very strong structure when he taught, but he shared so many important experiences, like how to behave in tricky business situations, and how to think in a very musical way, and how to create an added value in musical terms, and more, I would say, abstract topics. And maybe I was a bit not too young, but in technical terms, I wasn't there, but I already understood what he meant in that moment. And whenever he played in Hamburg or somewhere else, I was always there and try to check him out. So in early years, I just by seeing something or by checking him out, I learned a lot and I listened to what he said. And nowadays, when we meet, I still have so much respect for what he's doing. He played so many in so many different bands and settings and all that big band stuff and sight reading stuff, and also his genre diversity is pretty incredible. And at the same time, he's such a cool and modest guy. I really, really like him. And in retrospective, I would say maybe he was my favorite teacher, but I also had other and very important teachers, of course. In Germany, I also studied with Holger Nell. He's also very good teacher. I learned a lot of important big band knowledge in a way. And of course, Peter Erskine. That was an interesting episode in LA. Peter is also very, from my point of view, very good teacher, very focused on having a warm, fat, good sound, on musicality, not so much on technical things. That was clear for him. You have to have your rudiments together in a way. But yeah, that the content was also very, we dived really deep into the material, and that was really, really cool. And yeah, I also had other lessons with a lot of teachers, not for a couple of months or just for one lesson. There was also another teacher here from Hamburg, Matthias Friedel, Gemma, Matthias. He helped me to prepare myself for the audition at university. That was also very important, and a couple of other teachers, and I'm grateful for everyone. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How important do you think it is to still have a mentor even when you're at your level of playing?
Good question. I think it's important to have one. It's also possible to do everything on your own. In my case, I was not so self-confident at the beginning when I started studying jazz. Um, And for me, when I started studying, it was really important that there's someone who said, hey, you're really good in this and you should do this in a professional way. I think if nobody would have told me that, I wouldn't have done it, to be honest. Um, I don't know. I'm also interested in a lot of other things. And so that was really important to have someone who supports you. But at a certain age, at a certain point of experience, I think it's important to do it on your own and to create your own idol or way. And I see that nowadays with my students, the time at the moment is pretty rough. Political happenings, it's not really calm in a way. And also social media is very loud and very hectic, and that definitely has an impact on younger people and also on people who want to study music and who want to be professional drummer. And I got aware of the fact that sometimes they're really lost also because it's so overwhelming, refer to the material, drumming material out there. And I also observed that it's really hard for them to pay attention a long time on just one thing, to focus on one thing for a couple of weeks. And that was um, yeah, maybe you can confirm that from your learning curve, but that was totally normal 10 years ago that you focus on one thing for a couple of months. I haven't even thought about that this could be a problem. It was just that's how it should be done. That's it. Yeah. And that's really interesting. And nowadays it's like, what? I have to do this for 4 weeks in a row? Really? And I was like, come on. I did that for 2 years and I never complained. And that's interesting. And it's not that I want to say, oh, we were so much better. No, definitely not. I'm just observing, and obviously that's social media, the influence of social media, and that's just my observation. Maybe I'm wrong, but it has definitely changed something. And if you look further, that has also an impact on, okay, I need a mentor. I see a lot of younger drummers, they are a bit lost, and they really ask for a mentor. How can I do this, and how can I get all these clicks and likes, and how do I get these jobs? And a lot of questions are not so focused on musicality or musical skills, and that's pretty fascinating for me. So I remember very well that I asked, for example, Peter or Wolfgang Hafner, hey, on this recording in that bridge, you played this right cymbal pattern, and do you play it with sticks or rods, and then the comping in your left hand? What's the idea behind it, of that beautiful texture you created? That was a typical question I had when I studied. And nowadays, and I speak very honestly, because that happens, I would say not every day, but every week, twice or 3 times. Okay, Christin, I see your videos and all these clicks and the numbers, and I really want to have, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4,000 likes and 30,000 views. How can I get this? And and it's so weird for me to hear that question. And I mean, I definitely have respect. I don't want to laugh about anything. That's definitely not the point. I just want to understand where this question comes from, because it implicit is that the word, implicit?
Implies?
Yeah, it includes the question, show me the trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think if I would have asked that Peter Erskine or other teachers, they would say, hey, you have to practice for 10 or 20 years, And that has definitely changed. And yeah, I always try to, whenever I got asked this kind of question, I always try to show the whole picture and to calm people and to focus them a bit more on yeah, important musical components. And because I mean, if you look further, I mean, if you have these numbers, and of course you got aware of that fact, if you have the numbers, then you see, okay, I'm not happier. My mental state is not, it's not better. It's just I want to get more and more. That's the feeling which is created then. But yeah, so a lot of things to learn, and I always try to share this with younger students or people generally. But that has become more and more work during these last couple of years, and that's definitely just because of the influence of social media, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're mentoring them and you're giving such a nice, like, calming answer, because it's you're absolutely right. I've seen the same thing, and yeah, I used to spend hours just hitting the same part of the ride week after week for months with the teacher,
Mhm.
and now, yeah, it's just different. There's not the attention sometimes.
Absolutely. But Chiara, what's your experience with the drum cams?
With their attention there.
Yeah.
Um, I do vary things a lot, but I'm often saying the same thing. Like, just for this one bit, you need to just focus on this hit and like literally look at your hand. Like, I find that I'm saying the same things over and over, which is just trying to focus them and bring their attention to like the tiniest things, because sometimes it can feel really difficult, I think, to take it at that level and just to notice the tiny little movements that you need to make consistently. But yeah, I feel like it's a common issue being able to sit down and focus for that length of time before their mind wanders, or they're like, oh, this takes a long time. Why is it taking so long? It's like, this is how it is.
Yeah,
Welcome to drums. That's mostly what I will say.
true.
Come on in, sit down, you
Yeah.
know.
And based on what you said, I mean, patience is another
Yes,
key word, right? Um, I mean, this is not, I think, an actual problem. This has always been a problem. But patience, having patience and learning more about yourself. But the society always tends to divide players in, okay, this player is talented and this player is not so talented. And that's it, because it's easy to make this decision, or or to
mm,
see it like this, then it's easier, simple to understand. But really to dive deeper into learning progresses and processes, and to understand that the difference, if you practice it like this or if you practice it really efficiently, it can really make a difference at the end. But
yes,
it definitely needs patience, and it's also about learning a lot about yourself and being honest with yourself, and complex
yes,
topics like this. And um, I think there's so many really talented people out there, but if they would have a bit more patience and really believe in what they're doing, that we would have other results. Yeah, definitely.
I completely agree. Yeah, I say it so much. It's like you need to have compassion and just go easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just what's the rush? Like, you're not in a race with anyone. Just, it's okay. It's okay for it to take a while.
Yeah,
This how it is.
yeah.
And I feel like so many people say to me, "Oh, you're so patient." I'm like, I'm just sitting here with you. Like, you're the one who needs to have patience with yourself because you're getting way more frustrated than me. I'm just witnessing and helping, and people tend to give up because I don't know, they haven't reached this level by a certain time that they've put on themselves. But they've created that prison in a way. Do you see what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
With that, you can only teach one thing. Just say. It's like the last day of your teaching, and you can only teach one thing to one person. What is it?
I would focus something abstract. um, like something about um, more psychological or mental topic, or art. I wouldn't focus on rudiments or hand-foot combinations. I would take something abstract,
I
easy
love that.
of life, or um, something which sounds very simple and complex at the same time. Something like that, an abstract topic.
Yes. Cool. I would sign up to that.
Okay.
Um, I want to go back and ask about what age were you when you started playing drums? This is like a three in one question. What age were you when you started playing drums? What did your parents think at the time? What do they think now?
I was 5 or 6 years old when I felt a ha haptic passion for drums. And I know it was exactly when the Hansons released Mbop, that song.
Oh, I love that. That's just classic.
But to defend myself, my next album was straight from BB Blocksberg. Hansons was Jaco Pastorius' Word of Mouth Big Band. So, heavy fusion stuff. And I was 7 or 8 years old. then. And I have an older brother, and there was a present, an album of Jacob Astori's World of Mouth Big Band, and that album's name is Invitation. And this is quite complex, wild fusion stuff from the 70s. And I listened to a lot of fusion stuff, 70s, 80s stuff. And I was pretty young at that time, so got in contact with complex music quite early. And that was just because of my brother. I really like my brother still. And he had a huge impact on my musical path. My parents were not really amused by that wish, playing drums. And during that time, I was always interested in sports, and I played soccer, quite passionate, and also basketball and a lot of stuff. Table tennis, is that a word? Yeah. Okay. And my parents were more like, yeah, drums. Okay, let's see. And but I never quit, and I just got lessons then. And another deal with my parents was, okay, if you're really interested in drums, and if you really want to learn that instrument, you have to learn the piano as well at the same time. That's the deal. And that was really smart in a way. I mean, I come from a very musical family, and my father said this to me: you have to learn the piano, you have to learn a harmony instrument. That's really important. And I mean, parents are smarter. I think during that time, my parents already thought, okay, maybe she will do it professionally. And so it was just a smart move in a way. But they were not so amused about my choice playing drums. Yeah, just because, I mean, I come from a very liberal parenthood, parenthood. And we talked about so many cool topics at home. It was always, we talked a lot about different things, and so it was totally fine to have an interest for music, or for an instrument, or for drums. But especially that instrument was, I mean, for a young girl, my father was a bit like, ah, wouldn't, I don't know, piano or guitar, or maybe I don't know, another instrument, or that could also fit. And I was like, oh no, I don't know, from a haptic point of view, I don't feel it, I really want to play drums. And then my parents were, okay, yeah, then. And it was kind of stressful when I was a teenager at home, because my parents were quite busy during that time. And especially then it turned out, okay, I really want to do that professional. I want to study drums. And that was another time where my father, especially my mother is really relaxed with mothers are very intuitive all the time, I think. And nowadays my mom still has no idea what I'm doing, but she feels it very intuitively, and that's fine for her in a way. And that has always been the case. And my father was a bit more like, oh, you really want to do it professional? And also, he was an architect, and he was self-employed, and so he hoped maybe I'm also interested in that, and maybe, yeah, I will do the same later. And so I did the entrance examination secretly. My brother helped me with that. And my parents were just busy, so they had no idea what I'm doing. And later it turned out, oh, okay, she studies music. And honestly, I said during the first month of my study time, I said, yeah, it's so maybe I can teach at school later. That's a safe thing. But I studied art from the beginning. I wasn't, that's another field at university. So Yeah, but later on, when I invited them for the first NDR Big Band concert, here Radio Big Band in town, my father was, I mean, he played the trumpet and keys and everything. He was super interested in music, and he was very passionate. But I think he was just scared, and like parents are scared. I mean, if I would have kids, I would say I would forbid that in a way, you know. But it's a rough field generally. The business can be really, really rough, and I would be also scared as a parent. I don't know. And so, in retrospective, I can totally understand their concerns, absolutely. But it's just the fear of unknown things, you know. And meanwhile, it's really funny with my mother because, you know, my mom is really warm-hearted and light-hearted in a way. And whenever I I tell her, hey mom, I had such a wonderful interviewer here in the States and blah blah blah, and she's very passionate and says, oh, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. You know what, Christine, the potatoes in that supermarket. And then, you know, that's always the case. I was like, and I'm always like, oh, okay, I see. No, but that's lovely in a way, and that helps me to stay modest. I think I'm generally modest person, but it's really cool not to lose the connection to your roots in a way. And that's also the reality. I mean, there's so many different people and there's so many different options what you can do. And just because you have fantastic numbers on social media and you're very good in something doesn't mean you're better than someone who works in the supermarket. That's the point, you know? And so yeah, my parents accepted it, and they are also very, yeah. Well, my mom is very proud, definitely. Yeah, that's what I feel.
I was meant to be kind of wrapping up this with our last question, but I'm going to go rogue again because something else popped into my head. So I wanted to talk a little bit about teachers again and men and women because I've been coming to you during the last year a few times, and you are the first woman that I've learnt with, and it has been a totally different experience that I have talked about a little bit on the podcast before. Feels very, very different to having learnt with male teachers before. I wondered if you're aware of that with your students and with the people that you've learnt with, and if that's something that you ever think about.
Interesting questions. Question. Honestly, I haven't thought about that. Never. I talked a little bit about Heinz Lichius, my first teacher, and he's a uh, he's an 80s kid. He was born in the 60s, and he's from a very liberal parenthood. He's also half Dutch, has a very international approach, for me at least. And I think the way he taught was really perfect and also very progressive in a way. He taught me as a woman because he was always very polite. He always taught on an eye level, just as he would talk to a friend or a mentor who's randomly a bit older and more experienced, but super respectful. And whenever he taught me something technical, I remember that situation. He asked, oh, can I touch you just for a short moment here? And I was like, oh, why is he's asking that? Okay, that's interesting. I've never experienced that. And just because he wanted to correct my hand position or something like that, nothing special, but he asked. He was super polite. And nowadays we are still friends. And if I look now back, I mean, this was in the early, so in when was it? 2000, 2000s. And I mean, nowadays with the gender topics all the time, so many discussions, and if I look back, I would say, oh, this was very progressive, and it has never been a strong topic. It was just a matter of respect. And yeah, that's it. And nowadays, when I teach at university, I think the students really, they have really trust in what I'm doing. Not only because I have the social media numbers, that can be sometimes an argument. And I feel that it really helps to get more respected, or to be more respected in the community. But they also feel that whatever I try to say, it's because it's focused on the content and not because I want to promote myself or show something I don't have or I cannot offer. It's really because I'm interested on content and on the tradition I grew up with. And yeah, so it's yeah, essentials in a way. And I try to be very honest with that, and I try to pass on a tradition. And I think that's what they feel and what they appreciate. And maybe sometimes, maybe after a couple of years, they look back and think, yeah, okay, that was that had really content in a way that was not superficial. And especially now that the semester is over and I've reflected a couple of interactions, and what I definitely felt this semester, okay, social media has such a strong influence on everything, and the students are so nervous and they have so many questions, and at the same time they cannot focus. Not everyone, but they cannot focus so good on things on a long term anymore. And so this nervous mixture of these feelings turns to okay, show me the way. I need a mentor. Can you answer my questions? And it was very emotional when the semester was over. And when I look back during when I studied, it was definitely not so emotional. Honestly, it was just okay. Let's work on this and this and this, and a lot of abstract questions. But yeah, the vibe was totally different. And at the same time, I think back to your question, okay, this is very progressive. It's not the question of, okay, I'm a woman and I teach as a woman. It's just, okay, I pass on my knowledge and they really appreciate that and they're very grateful. And I also had a couple of conversations last semester where a couple of male students said, I really like the fact that you're a woman, because I don't want to be in a setting where, I don't know, old white men are shouting at me anymore. A lot of jazz students experienced that in ensemble lessons. I think I know these situations. I mean, when I started studying jazz, there was another generation who taught at university, and there were more, I would say, in their late 50s, beginning 60s, and this was a different generation. It was rougher, definitely, definitely. I remember in ensemble lessons, was an Art Blakey ensemble um, at university in Hanover, where I started studying jazz. And the piano player, he was a really lovely Bavarian guy, not slim, let's say in a diplomatic way. And our teacher said, "Why are you so fat? You have to move, you have to do sports. What are you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, I swim a lot." Oh, that's not enough. That's not enough. You know, it was in an Art Blakey ensemble lesson. And just to show the difference, it's different than nowadays, you know. And I cannot imagine what would happen if I recommend a student to do a bit more of that sport, you know, because, you know, that's really so it was another generation. And I wouldn't say it, I mean, sometimes it was rough also in terms of being a woman and being educated in a surrounding as a woman in a jazz setting. But in retrospective, I would say it definitely helped me to be a bit more or, yeah, tough in this business. And nowadays I try to pass this experience on. And yeah, but that's really progressive. The students never ask that aspect. She's a woman and I have less drum lessons. No, it's just because I'm able to teach and I'm in the right position, and that's it. And I think that's a real progress in our society. Yeah.
Can you tell us about what the rest of the year looks like for you? What can we look forward to seeing that you are allowed to talk about?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there are a couple of secret but really, really cool things I would love to share, but I'm not able to share this. But it's really, really cool, and looking forward to that. But yeah, later you will definitely see and hear. But yeah, what's next? So I'm really happy that I have a bit of flexible time just to develop a couple of new things. There's a new video shoot in the making. There's a drum camp in Hungary in September at Lake Balaton. This is also really cool. I like traveling and being on the road. Being up road somewhere, and that's really cool. There I will release a heel toe package volume 2. And I will release the release date very soon. But this will happen very soon. And yeah, it's a crazy story, but this heel toe thing, I don't know what happened. It was just a random idea and it has millions of views. And it doesn't stop. I would stop, but I cannot stop because it has these views. So yeah, let's see. And so a lot of people ask me, do you have also videos? Because this motion is kind of complex. It's really nerdy, but I don't know. A lot of people are interested in that. And so it was not planned, but the heel toe workout series 1 was kind of successful in a way. There are still orders every day. And I released it, I think, in September last year. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, sometimes the internet helps, and I'm grateful for that. So I decided to release volume 2, heel toe package volume 2, and that comes along with a video bundle to demonstrate the motion, very slow, slow-mo camera, and so yeah, a couple of helpful things. What else? A lot of I would love to share, but I cannot share it. That's the thing. So I will release a couple of new things, but the next thing is the heel toe package, and yeah, a lot of things I would love to share now, but I cannot.
Well, that's good. Thank you for sharing what you can with us anyway.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to seeing what it is.
Yeah, can't wait. Thank you for giving up your time and giving us all the insights you gave us. Loved it. Loved today. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the lovely questions. I always hope it's not too chaotic, but yeah, cool.
It was great.
Not at all. It was great to speak with you.
Thanks for listening to the Drummer Mamas podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave us a 5-star rating because it makes us more visible to other listeners. And we really do appreciate any comments or reviews. It makes a difference. Thanks again, and see you next time.